Oh, God. I don't know how much of that is gonna show up now. Shoot, no wonder. Really, YouTube? I can't even. Jeez. Now, see, now I'm like, so, God, I don't understand why that would be different. There's no reason why that would be different. And also, my volume is definitely not showing, not loud enough. All right, well, yeah, no, it's not even gonna not even gonna show. So I've been talking to an empty room for the past 20 minutes. Just letting you know. My brain doesn't even want to function now. I mean, I can't even begin to. It just. Well, I will get back to painting, but now I gotta. All right, so let me first just explain what just happened. Um, so the way that YouTube's live setup is happening now, I haven't actually utilized YouTube's live setup in a while, is that um, when you hit start streaming in OBS or I guess whatever service you happen to be working on, it only punches through a preview to YouTube, and you actually have to hit go live or start streaming or whatever the hell it is on the YouTube studio page for it to actually start streaming. So I hit stream in OBS, which works in everything else. It works fine on Twitch. Twitch doesn't screw you like that. But for whatever dumbass reason, you have to hit go live twice. Once in OBS and the second time on YouTube. And if you don't do that, you're not actually live. You're just previewing for 20 damn minutes. So, now I gotta start the whole shebang over. Hi everybody, Ben here from Cinderblock Studios. Welcome to the Holy Saturday stream. Holy effing messed up stream is what it is. I'm working on a variety of pieces today. The top two are my primary goals today. Although I've got like 5 projects on the floor, this being, wait, 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 projects, including this one on the floor, and then 2 there. And they're the smaller pieces that I'm trying to get done after I did 3 larger pieces earlier this week. Really later this week, just a couple of days ago, I've worked on those. So I'm in the process of laying out some color on this piece, waiting for my first layer here to dry. The first layer here was a mix of some indigo and muted violet colors in order on top of the black gesso in order to just offset it a little bit because I'm going to make a night sky, but I don't want it to be just pure stark black. Piece up top, I started by dropping a little bit of matte gel into this little hole here because it was sticking out and kind of bothered me a little bit. Before I get back to that one, that has to dry, and that's probably going to take the longest since that's a thicker area of paint. So yeah, as always, painting, finishing up stuff like that, answering your questions as I go, and yeah, that's about it. And because YouTube decided to be weird. So yeah, if you guys have questions, comments, anything you want to say, projects you're working on, stuff you're doing this weekend, how you're celebrating the Easter holiday, and staying safe, I hope all of you are. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get back to work. Gotta remember to drink some water here. So, what I was trying to do here is establish some other color in here. Now, I started this piece with my oil and acrylic buff technique. No, oil buff, acrylic overlay, and removal subtractive technique that I've been working on. But I kind of looked at this piece from the side, and I was like, I think I'd much rather just kind of have some overpainting on this one versus just strictly treating this one as a subtractive piece. So I established some just used my used paint jar, which is this little bit of a greenish brown color, to establish some baseland. Got some Quinn Violet in here for some of the rocks, and I'm just thinking about where I want things in that instance. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just have a ton of projects to kind of look through and play with and everything like that, and I just want to work on them. So if you've never seen one of my live shows before, just as a general heads up, I don't necessarily keep totally quiet. I'll kind of narrate as I go, giving tips as I go along. But if you guys want to see something in particular, anything you want me to demo, and things like that, I will be more than happy to do so. Start laying out my grass colors. Also note that if you do drop in a comment, I have them in front of me, though if I'm really intense on a painting, I may not see it right away, and there's also a 20 to 30-second delay between the stream and whatever you commented. So if you comment, I'll see it right away, but it likely won't see it because of the time delay. So yeah, that's about it. I'm just get that stuff, house cleaning sort of concepts out of the way, and just dropping stuff in now. Yeah, another thing I said prior to actually starting was that I want to keep the background roughly still kind of silhouette-y. So I want to keep my light tones, at least somewhat speaking, just more sparingly placed. So I don't want to totally overpower the piece, but it still should look right as a whole. Probably throw some waterfalls and rocks and stuff in the river as I go. That perfect mirror image of the sky kind of bothers me. Well, it's not totally a mirror image. It's I did a big swirl and then painted on top of it, so it's whatever the bottom half of the swirl was like. Most of this piece will just be done with a liner brush, just coming in and basically drawing over top of it with paint. I have to come up with a title for this one too, because I don't think this one was based on anything. It's just me screwing around, which is oddly enough sometimes some of my better pieces happen when I do that. When you're not worried about anything, you tend to make better work sometimes. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. It's easy to get caught up in your own head. You're like, well, I definitely got to do it this way. It's like, well, no. Just relax, have fun, paint a little. So one idea I've been kicking around the past few months is starting a Discord chat for this for the YouTube channel here, Cinderblock Studios, specifically because there were the old days where where the hell did my rag go? Over here. The old days where we used to do when Google Plus was still functioning and a thing. Um, we would have these hangouts and video hangouts and stuff, and I missed that. So I think it would be fun to do at least using voice chat through Discord to do that again, and that way people can join in, the way they used to in all those ways. So it would be, I think, a fun way to. I'll also get some of you guys into the conversation too. I mean, I know back in the day that's kind of how a lot of ways how I got a bit of a jumping off point, um, especially with some of the more established YouTube artists, was just being able to jump in like the video call with them. So I think having the open voice chat server, or at least mostly open, have to find some way to regulate it so it doesn't get too crazy, but um, just a place to go and talk about art and your projects and get feedback in a more real way. I think would be a good direction to take things. And again, it wouldn't in any way replace the YouTube channel, but it would be a way to have a more direct connection, both to me as the guy who runs the channel, but also as as creators and as people that are looking for again maybe more than just how to paint a tree, because not everything I can give advice for in video format. Some things involve a little bit more of an in-depth kind of critique or just kind of a look at a look at someone's work beyond just being like, I'm working on a thing and this helped me and that's it's cool, but it's like I'd like to help you more than just the video because every project's different. It's like all the tutorials and everything. It's like, well, it can be like, yeah, well, this I can paint a tree kind of like that now, but it's like, well, is that actually what you needed for the project? Because every project's gonna be different. And what you might need for one project, you probably don't need for another, and I can't anticipate all that. I just kind of have to guess and being like, here's a tutorial that kind of encompasses some things, and everything like that. Looks pretty nice. I want to get, excuse me, just some of the browner color, a little bit of that green just in the water as a underlying reflections and stuff. Actually, I'm thinned this out, realizing it's not going to stick because that underlayer is oil. It's just kind of puddle up. That's okay though. Just get a little blue or something in there. There we go. Okay, this looks just about dry, so we'll be able to start dropping stars in, which is good. That's what I wanted to do in the first place. But since I didn't establish my space color the other day when I gessoed it, since I was waiting for the gesso to dry the last time, I have to do that now. Also, when I do the white layer on this with the water lines and everything, adding this little bit of dark will make those water lines show up a little bit easier, which is usually why I do it on a river type piece. Just add a little. Also, rare to see perfectly clear waters in a river. It's usually a little muddy or dirty. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Also, if any of you guys are watching or have any thoughts on possibly jumping into a Discord server regarding art, I'm sure I'll make a video announcement if I ever get around to doing it. But yeah, it's something that's kind of been on my mind to do, and I think especially going in, not even so much going into summer, but with everybody kind of stuck at home right now, um, I think it's actually might be a better time than if I waited to try and set something up. So actually, now that I'm talking about it, I might actually try and do that today. There's a few projects I didn't quite get done. I had a book I wanted to finish this week, and I didn't do that. Problem is when I work on my book, um, I want to. I usually am thinking about it while I'm doing something else, like when I'm at work. And since haven't been at work, then I haven't had the thought process or motivation to work on the book. So I need some time that I'm just kind of mindlessly doing stuff. Um, and it's unfortunately mindlessly doing stuff does not encompass painting or housework. So it's been harder to find the time and motivation to work on the book. So. All right, let me get the stars done because they'll need some time to dry. So I want to swap 1, 2. Just move this back a little bit like that because I'll need a little bit of flicking space for the stars. Also, my headset keeps getting screwy. It keeps sliding down my head. I guess that's the downside of not having hair. Is just nothing stays on your head. I was actually more clever of a joke than I realized. Okay, so I want to get some white. Actually, do I want to use the high flow for this? Yes, I do. Okay. Get a little white. Need a nice stiff brush. Where's my... yeah, that'll work. Get a little bit of water. Keep ourselves nice and thin. Do I actually want to do a star belt for this one? Yeah, I'll put maybe a little extra around those edges like that. Maybe make a little S curve. Like that. That looks good. Also notice I'm getting the glare from the light. Sorry about that. Trying to maintain and double check my stuff here. Also, I don't know why my preview is not in full HD, because it's stupid that it's not. Alright. Anyhow. So that's the white for that. And go back to this one for a minute as those dry, but they don't actually need a lot of time. Those will probably be dry within about 5 or 10 minutes, tops. Probably closer to 5. Back to getting some of these light values established for the grass. Get a little green. Work with my... what is this, Indian yellow? Like, what is this color? I don't know. If you ask me later, I can tell you what it is, but in the middle of the process, it's like, I don't know, I'm doing something. Whatever. Actually have to thin this out a little bit so it actually sticks. Just a little bit of water. Since the underlying layers are still kind of tacky, so I want to be able to just drop in the highlighties. Gotta be careful not to overblend. talking with a friend of mine recently, and I'm like, I think you're overblending. Because it's really easy just to kind of keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going with it. And all of a sudden it's just flat again. And even in my particular layering style of painting, you don't want to be completely flat with your work. You want it to have some level of depth and at least seem kind of real. As I've mentioned in I think at least a couple of videos before, it's the visual suspension of disbelief, so I call it. Just yeah, you can make a fantasy world, but it still has to obey the laws of physics. Has to kind of look right. Looks pretty good. Get some of those light tones established on the rocks. Have to get some kind of an orange. Actually, I think I've got a. What did I use for that one? That was an oil stick piece, so that would have been maybe either white plus some yellow, pale. So probably lean closer to the red oxide, I think. That's a pretty potent color, so I don't need a ton of it. Plus, I use the ink, so grab that and this. Then we'll mix that once it's a little bit warmer with the white. Yeah, that looks good. A bit of the yellow. That's nice. All right, let me sit down for this. I'm kind of going over top of where I kind of did the subtractive stuff earlier. Sorry, mic's sitting in my face here. Just kind of dry brushing with it a little bit to bring a little extra. And a lot of the texture I'm picking up has come from my initial layers. I did my primer layer, I think, was with molding paste, then the oil stick for the big swirls, and some of that is kind of showing through in the texture. And then some of the acrylic on top. So I'm getting kind of all those underlying texture layers that I established in the first place. And that's kind of what the dry brush is picking up. Plus the the texture, still some of the texture of the stone in there too. Like this little ridge here is actually just the texture of the stone. Yeah, this will need an extra highlight layer. Probably just some of the Titan buff to bring some of the shapes forward. The studio is pretty dry today. So those stars I know are already done because my palette's that quick mix is already starting to dry a little. So yeah, that's like basically already dry. Jeez. Probably should have dropped some GAC 100 on the palette this morning. I'll make sure to get some for the the star piece. Actually, I'm excited to work on the star piece too, because it's going to involve, especially live, because it's going to involve a little extra planning. I mean, I have the sketch plan, but in order to do what I want to do with it, it's going to be a little more technical, I guess would be the better way to put it. Really just kind of letting the brush do most of the work here. I'm not touching a ton of this. Okay. That's pretty good. Any of that white left? No. Of course not. Never is when you need it. Good old Titan buff. Perfect thing for an upper highlight layer. Yeah, this doesn't take a lot of work to do one of these little ones, especially ones that I already had half the work established with. So, especially getting, what is it? Some of these tones established, I guess, is not that challenging, at least for me anyway. Put an extra little bit there. Take advantage of the texture that I brought up before. And I'm really I'm not strictly using one side of the brush. If you're watching real close, possibly on full screen if you're able to. I mean, I know I'm thinking I'm probably only streaming at like 720, but I'm establishing, I'm dropping in some of those other areas, and then I'm a lot of times using the corner of the brush to try to drag that out and keeping a much lighter touch on this than I might use otherwise on another piece, or a larger piece, I should say. That really just kind of brings up all of these things, and I'm sometimes rubbing some stuff away if there's too much on there, or spreading it out that way. Yeah, once actually I get this layer done, I should be able to. Oh wait, I want to do the water lines too. I should be able to come in with a liner brush, and I'll probably come in with some dark color and just detail it, and then probably sign this one because it's, again, this is not a complex piece, so it doesn't involve as much finessing as a larger piece would. I kind of want to get some music going in, at least in my headset. You guys won't hear it, but the dead silence is driving me nuts. So, actually, if I drop something, I might look up something to send, something I can drop into the video comments. Which might work. Have to find some kind of beats or something. I don't know. Gotta keep myself motivated. Although I am pretty well concentrated right now, which hasn't happened outside of this week in a while. It's really easy to overdo it, especially with highlights. Got to be limited with it. Just like go slow, one thing at a time, and just let it slowly build up. You can always go over it, but sometimes those upper layers, they're harder to finesse with that way. All right, let me get some of my own music going here, and I'll definitely drop a link for once I find something. Let me think. All right, so yeah, this should be all right. Something a little ambient just in the back. Alright, there's some stuff for you guys as well. Something to just kind of keep you going in the background. I don't want to get flagged or anything, so I will keep my speakers or headphones or whatever just in the back of it, at least for me, and then everything else will just be what I'm doing. So yeah, if you want a music suggestion while you watch, that's what I'll give you. All right, water. So actually, is that any of that? Yeah, that's still white. Perfect. So actually, I'm going to keep using that same brush because I actually don't have to switch out yet. Normally, I'd go for the zinc white, but shouldn't actually need it. Again, we're working small scale, so anything a little bit even more opaque right now would be helpful even. And as I mentioned before, all those sections I put down before with the green into the water, then it makes the white show up just a little easier. Actually, we'll need a little bit of the regular titanium though, so I need something a little thicker for waterfalls. But that looks pretty good. Alright. Oh yeah, so much better to have music going. Alright. I just want to cover this little blip up. Get some thrashing water, especially towards the bottom there. Yeah, it's not bad. Alright. So I want to get, is my black out? I think it was still out. Yeah, here we go. So get some of that. Get my liner brush out, or at least one of them. This one's starting to wear out a little bit. Gotta be careful with it. Make sure I don't go overboard. I'm actually use some of the Quinn Azo Gold for this as well. I'm gonna need a smaller vessel. Here we go. Alright. Okay, this palette I'm gonna set off to the side. Won't need that for a little while. Mix up just a little bit of the dark. So that black. Then, oh, I gotta shake this one. Probably had to shake the black too, but I forgot. Just put that there. This will give me a dark, but it won't completely be so stark black that I would be too, I don't know, harsh, I guess. Primarily, it's going to be just for edging these rocks, because a lot of them are just still have that initial what did I use for that? Probably a paint marker in the first place, which is why I have that fuzzy edge, because my paint markers are actually kind of getting worn out. So any of these layers that aren't really in the light, I can just push a little extra dark in them and establish those edges. Just clean them up a little bit. This one's driving me nuts. This is really the biggest one here that I was worried about. I really love this finishing work with the liner brush for the pieces that I do, because it really just lets you play with all these little intricate details that are so necessary, but aren't necessarily things people remember to do. It took me a long time to realize that after all the fun parts of the painting, the big sweeping areas of fun parts, you got to remember to come in and just put in your details. Because if you don't, well. Clean up the water line here. Now, if this piece was a little bigger, I'd probably spend a little more time adding extra details into it, but this is just one of those little in-between projects for me, so I'll just get it to within, I would say, a reasonable level of detail. And then sometime when the world opens back up, I'll take this one down to the gallery in Lawrenceville. And knowing how things have been selling there, I don't imagine this piece will last longer than maybe, a couple of months before it sells, so. This is actually a good color. I'm probably going to sign in this too. Oh, shoot. I just realized what I haven't done yet. Because I have a shadow color that I want to work in. And not the black mix. Something else. My smalt layer. Which is really, really important. That looks pretty good. I think that white's still wet. A little bit up there. Perfect. Just a little bit in the back there. So that yellow. Yellow's not even wet anymore. There's a little bit. Good. Just want to get a couple of Little hints of some grass in here. Taller grass. Things that'll flip around the edges a little bit. Figure out where the hell I want to put my figure too. Thinking like right here. Make him a little more of a stark black color here, darker than my other shadows. There he is. Somewhat debating whether or not to drop a little sun in there. I think I'm going to do that. Just can always get rid of it, so. Oh, yeah, that just made that perfect. Yep, that's exactly what that needed. One little drip. One little drip on the finger for that sun. Oh, man, that looks great now. Okay. So, actually, this is almost done, so let me get a little bit of that shadow color. Right on the corner there. I don't even need to. Come on. Squeeze. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't need much. Probably going to grab a different brush too, something a little softer. Nice soft round. There we go. Wet that. Doesn't need it everywhere though, just a couple little areas on the grassier sides of things. Especially between the layers of where the grass would sit. To give the distinction that the hills are kind of rolling over each other rather than just all right on the same spot. Separation layer especially. And a little in here. And it might look a little bit blue now, but it dries a lot more transparent than it is right out of the tube, so makes for a rather nice finisher color. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. I'll sign that one and set that aside for sealing later. Once that dries, I'll give it a clear coat and wire it. Actually, there'll be two spots probably here and here when I put the wire on it. I'll have to drill holes through it for that. But I like to do that at the end rather than the beginning. Because otherwise, I'm going to paint over it and the holes will get filled up, so yeah. Okay. Usually need to stand for my signature, just need to get the right angle on it. Total of 20. There we go. One down. And that's not even the one I wanted to finish today. Hey, that looks nice. I'm actually kind of surprised that turned out as well as it did. Alright, move over to my star piece, the one I've actually been excited to work on all day. How's that doing with the drying time? That needs a little more time yet. Okay. Still don't know what I'm going to title that piece. Something about arching over the river. I don't know. Something like that. Okay, so this piece actually is going to involve a little bit of sketching right on the thing, and I actually want to do that with, I think, maybe like a white charcoal or something. Let's see, what do I have? There's a pastel pencil. That'll work. So, yeah, the start piece is a little more complex. I think I did my explanation prior to when I was actually streaming, so I have to do a little bit more of a thought with this. Actually, I should refill my juice too. I'm gonna get some cranberry juice, so I'll be back momentarily. All right. So, this piece is called Legacy of Humanity. Very sort of sci-fi-esque because I'm going to involve some holographic panels, so to speak. There's going to be a figure standing in the center. So it's really based on a lot of different ovals, circles, everything like that. So we have sort of our base spot where our figure is going to stand, but that space is going to be a little more ambiguous because everything's going to revolve around that. So let's see, how did I do that in the sketch? So just it's just the varying levels of where these circles would be. We have to come down a little further. And everything's just sort of built around these arcs. And this would look really good on a big painting, but because this is in a lot of similar ways to some of my other work, at least recently, are things that I've really never even attempted before. So involve a little more practice with what I'm going to be actually trying to do. So what do I want to start with this one? Probably right here. And looking with where the figure's going to be. And I do want to play a little bit with placement to offset them a little bit more than I might have otherwise done. So keep him more centered. So the tricky thing's gonna be doing the pieces on the end that kind of wrap around everything, and kind of that multi-layered effect, like just paper towel work. So I have all these, basically these thin holographic panels, but the ones that kind of go around the bend like that are going to be the hardest ones to draw. And actually, just get a piece of paper as a reference. What the hell have I been thinking? All right. Well, I mean, just doing this in person will tell me everything I need to know. I don't know why I didn't think of doing that before. Although this crease in this probably is not going to help. But if I just give myself that angle, actually that tells me a lot of information. Okay, so yeah. So I got to think about just generally compositionally what's going to work the best here. Not going totally off the sketch, letting things work as they would, at least for me currently. So, and then once I get my square established, I'll erase the guidelines, and we'll go from there. I like the idea of doing a lot of these overlapping ones, though. I was actually rewatching the first Iron Man movie recently, and it's a lot of going to be kind of similar to how his projected displays are in that movie. Also realizing I should sit down because you guys are seeing probably more of the back of my head than the actual thing itself, so. Because it's my first one for Around the Bend. So I want it to be kind of like that. I'm seeing sort of the top of it, so we're going to see. We're actually going to see all of it. We're not going to. Nothing's going to be blocked, so. Oh shit, that's on top of the. Oh, I just got paint everywhere. Great. Alright, well. Just gotta think about basic geometry here. There we go. Perfect. Definitely have some smaller ones in there, you know. Nice big one on this one side. Okay. A couple up here. And just imagine there's sort of like this library of all the knowledge of mankind just hanging out in this pocket of space, and being able to access it. And it's kind of the in some ways a commentary on the access of knowledge on just like with what we can do with the internet. And that's what it is. That's what the internet is. It's just a pocket of knowledge in the void of space, so to speak. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of do a piece that's sort of in that realm, but imagine that realm a little differently. Actually, this is the first time in a long time I've done a piece that's more of a statement piece in that way. So I don't normally do kind of work like that, but this will be one that I'll have to get prints made of because I know people are going to love this. Okay, we'll do a slight one here. Actually, I don't want to do that one. That's going to be right on top of that little hole that I mentioned earlier. And it's going to make it stand out too much. So I'll just put it right next to it. That's pretty good. I get maybe an overlapping one on this side. Just like almost has a flutter around a little bit maybe here. Yeah, that's nice. We do one more on top of it. Okay, that's pretty solid. Do one there. Do one on this corner. Actually, we'll do one on top. I wasn't even thinking about doing one up top, but that's perfect. Put one there. And what the hell? Let's really fill this thing. We'll just sign the back of this one. Because I'm trying to think, like, where's my signature going to go now? Oh, better yet. Oh, that's an idea. I'll put my signature on one of the panels. Oh, that'd be great. In which case, I gotta find one to put it. Probably this one even. Or I can just, no, let's do what I was gonna do with this. And put it here. Just overlap that one that's curling around. Uh-huh, like that. That's gonna be fun. I don't usually get this excited for something like this, but I've been dying to do this painting. In that case, I'm putting a tall one here. Kind of need one more on this side to, just like a front one. We'll do what I was going to do over there up here. Just arc that. Like that. Okay. Now I got to erase those initial sketch lines that I should be able to do just with a little bit of wet something or other. Or a kneaded eraser if it doesn't work, but the wet something or other should be fine. But I will get my kneaded eraser out just to be safe. Paper towel here. Probably gonna need fresh water for this too. Oh yeah, that's coming right off. Perfect. I still might need the kneaded eraser or something. Anything that got pushed around with my finger might be a little harder to get off. I'm definitely going for like a, 80s sci-fi hologram green, Though I may interlace some other colors on top of them, but The trick is just going to be to actually really glaze with it rather than try and some of that's not really coming off the way I wanted it to, but that's all right. We can work with it as we go. Can always scrub it down with a brush and just some water that way. I swear, my headset does not like the fact that I have glasses. Things never seem to sit on properly or straight or whatever. Alright. That's at least a little bit more visible, I think. Alright. So, gonna utilize some of the colors I already have out, but not a ton. And I'm gonna have to clean my water out because I really don't want to taint this with some of this gray stuff. So I'll give me a couple minutes. I'm gonna clean this out, grab some new water, and start laying out some color. Alright, so I'm grabbing a considerably smaller brush since this piece is a little more conceptual than a lot of my regular stuff. I'll need definitely need some gel of sorts, matte gel, gloss gel, haven't really decided. Maybe just some glazing liquid, that'll probably be perfect for this. I need to mix a fairly decent batch of sort of a hologram green, I guess is best I can describe it. That, a bit of blue. And you know what? I want a Hansa yellow for this. Because the cad yellow is going to make it too much like foliage. It needs to be a little more closer to the spring green that I hate so much. Okay. That's pretty good. Could even afford to be a little more yellow. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Turn this into a glaze. this back on the shelf so I don't lose it. Perfect, Batman. Guy I work with says that all the time. Inadvertently has gotten me to start saying it. All right. As soon as I start dropping this in, it'll start immediately looking like something. And actually, I want this one to be bigger. I'm going to take this up a little extra. And down a little extra. Like that. I want that figure to be more centered. You know? Okay. If anyone's just tuning in, welcome. Hope you guys are enjoying your morning. I've got an audio playlist in comments if you're watching on YouTube, so you can listen to what I'm listening to. If not, feel free to sit back, relax, paint or draw along, or just, have me on the background. Whatever works for you. If you guys have questions about art, the process, anything that I'm doing that I haven't already said, feel free to drop me a comment, and I'll be more than happy to get to it. So I have to do a lot of flipping for this one. Kind of have a track going in the background right now that's really like ethereal. It's like so perfect for what I'm working on. Anyone on the video, it's 3941 that just crossed over into, which will be Fayodale Northbound is the track. I mean, I'd play the stuff. I don't know what's Creative Commons and what's not. I don't need any flags in my live streams. That would be sucky. Yeah. Just like that. And I'll come in with like a yellow or a white and give it little lettering and stuff as we go throughout the course of the other stuff. But this track has like a vinyl crackle to it. I love it. I think if this works, I might try and do something similar on a larger canvas. And normally I'd be concerned that some of the pastels are mixing in with the paint for my sketch lines. but it's actually going to really work to my advantage for this project, especially since I have a lot of these overlapping shapes. So with a piece like this, especially in comparison to things that things I've been doing lately, specifically my sketchbook stuff, has actually been going out of my way to think about and revisit ideas from sketchbooks from like 10 years ago, ideas I had from way back, especially my college era stuff when I did more surrealism type things. And part of it is that I've actually reached a point, uh, both in the process of how I work as well as just in my own skill set, that I can actually start doing a lot of the ideas that I had early on, but my skills weren't up to snuff enough to actually be able to pull them off, and at least pull them off correctly, based on what my initial vision was. So I think it's actually kind of interesting that now I'm actually starting to work backwards a little bit in terms of painting concepts, just because I'm actually finally able to push into those areas that aren't strictly landscapes, but still follow a lot of the same basic principles. And it took me a while to realize that that's actually all I had to do was apply what I was already knew, but be able to actually do it. I had to go through the process of learning some other things, other techniques, and before I could actually kind of go back to that. But now that I'm at that point, I'm able to start pushing my work a little further in with the same sort of reflection of further out of a level of stale, stagnant kind of work, and into some new subject matters, at least new for anybody seeing it, not necessarily new for me, but um, generally more unusual based on what people are used to seeing from me. So the past couple of pieces I did, which made it to up to Facebook and DeviantArt, if you follow my accounts over there, I did a underwater piece with a tiny little submarine and no figures. And that piece was a lot of just about playing with bubbles and foam and underwater type things. And then yesterday I finished up a piece that's like a spaceship or like an escape pod, a little round thing falling across. It's the piece called "Dancing on the Stratosphere," so it's like returning to Earth, and you can see like it's like the friction on the spaceship hitting the atmosphere, causing it to ignite and burn as it re-enters the atmosphere. And that was a really fun piece to work on because it was just so different. And again, it's another very strange recent piece that does not have one of those tiny figures in it, because most of them do. At least in the past couple of years, I've been doing them that way. So it'll be interesting showing those pieces off because the little figures almost become a signature style element for my work. So I know people are going to be standing there staring at it like, where's the figure? And I'll have to tell them there isn't one. They'll be like, what? Should be fun. But yeah, so I've been playing with different things like vehicles and spaceships and things that I've been teetering into working with more. I want to do one where you see like the back of the ship and it's like glazing layers of um, the propulsion. So it's like this blue fire coming out of the back. I really want to play with that idea at some point. In what capacity, I'm not sure, but definitely something. So a little bit, well, kind of simple right now visually. I'm just painting green boxes, but I think when I start doing like the text on these, I'll just go to Wikipedia and search, like hit the random article button and just see what comes up and base something on that. I mean, I have a few ideas with some things I want to show, but for the most part, it's going to be fairly random. When I have something in the middle with like scientific equations, and then one of them will have sort of a little portrait in there, but nothing you can really see. Just something that's just kind of like, yeah, that looks kind of like a portrait, you know. I might give a little disc in the center for the guy to sit on. Maybe something blue. Put like a even the indications of a circuit board on the guy's feet or beneath his feet on the blue section. Yeah. There's something with making the green more transparent in that you can see the stars behind everything. Probably was a little too thick already, I'm noticing with these greens. Should have kept it a little thinner, but that's alright. I'll know for next time, really. Or I can, even better yet, probably start doing a little more transparent as we get towards the foreground. Might even make some of these overlapping boxes a different color, like I can get some of the blue in. I don't know, still haven't quite decided. Since I didn't do a digital concept for this piece, it's a little more just kind of figure it out as I go. Yeah, as I mentioned before, with keeping those white lines in, it's actually going to help me figure out where those shapes are uh, when I start painting on top of them. A little extra color on this, on the overlap of the green. That way, that actually will look a little darker since it won't show as much through. Again, I'm really out of my comfort zone with this piece, just trying all kind of new things. Okay, what was I doing with this one? That one was in front. All right, so this one's got to be first. The trick is when I start detailing is being able to get the lines behind things and in front of things. So that things actually kind of show through in being the transparent way. And again, I'm still not really sure how I'm going to do that. Because I'm not sure. I'm really not. The best I can do is leave a little bit of the edges go and do them at the very, very end. Just kind of outline them. It's going to be a long stream. I can feel it. Another swig of juice pretty soon here, though. I've learned not to keep my drink on the table, rather to keep it behind me, because I will absolutely either dip or dunk or something or other. I think I've only actually never done it once, but I've been close way too many times to. I've probably couldn't been closer to drinking my paint water than dipping my brush in my drink, but still, it's not a regular thing that I want to even put myself into attempting to be capable of. I'd rather kind of keep things where I can for to be manageable. Starting to realize this would probably be actually easier to do with oils than acrylics. But hey, I'm committed at this point, so. I'm committed to the psychiatric world of paint. I definitely want some sort of a base plate to stand on for our figure, so yeah, definitely leaning towards some sort of a blue for that. Normally I'm a bit faster at painting than this, but again, highly conceptual, more illustrative piece, so need to take things a little slower. Actually concentrate a bit more. Noticing the preview now, you guys are getting some glare off of the paint, which it didn't even occur to me as being a thing. I'll have to tilt this once I get it, the box is done, because I mean all these curves, like I have to, otherwise I'd let it go, but and just prop it up now. But I have to keep rotating the canvas. I have to. Shouldn't say canvas. It's not canvas. It's a substrate, but. Shoot, I think I'm coming up on. Oh, halfway through it. Okay, an hour. All right. Thought I was already at the 2 hour mark. Not quite. Close though. Well, close as in an hour away, but. This one. Also to note, if you're watching for like the tips and stuff I've been saying along the way, what was I gonna say? Already forgot. Yeah, it's gone. I have no idea. I was gonna say something important, but no idea what it is now. It'll come back as soon as I stop thinking about it. That one, I actually think I want to leave that edge go. So I want that to actually stand out more as the hologram between the holograms. So I'm going to try to trace around that a bit. All right. Lift that back up, put that under there. That should be better for you guys. To see in the, yeah, that shows up better. Nice. Okay. So. Ah, right, the blue section. Trying to figure out, like, what was I gonna do? I don't know. Use some ink. Is any of that still wet? A little bit. Some violet in there. Tone it down a little. Alright, let's see. Follow one of my initial circles here and just... Actually, we'll see it behind the green, so might as well keep painting that through. That's nice. Uh-huh. That's exactly what that needed. That little space there. Actually, I might even get that a little bit brighter. Make some sort of a cross line there or something. I don't know, like a... or even a brighter spot. Tilting it for me and trying to keep it tilted for you here. Just little bits at a time. Yep. on top. Nice. All right. I got to think for a minute now. Yeah. This looks a little wonky up on this edge. That's better. Oh, what the hell? Whole brush came with me. It's a little sticky on that side for some reason. Oh, that's why. Well, might swap pieces for a little while because I gotta think about this for a bit before I keep going. I like it, but again, it's such a different kind of project. And this is probably dry enough to work with now. Yep, perfect. So this color goes aside, this color comes in. I really don't want to rush through that other one, so I won't. The black's not still out, is it? Nope, of course not. That's all right. It's another piece that I started with a base layer of oils and pushed some whatever other color on top of it. All right, get some orange in there. All right. Hopefully this isn't too thin, but it looks like it might be. Yep, it's too thin. Crap. Means we need some JC, I think, probably. I have to get a different brush too. Get a round in here. Where's my Tuscan? There it is. Okay, now we should be fine. Yeah, it's pretty good. Actually, I'm probably going to do that whole section later, but should I establish my bigger areas? Yeah, it's still really thin. It's not going to stick to that oil. Yeah, that resist that I'm getting is all thanks to the fact that I had an oil base, so I'm coming off top with acrylic and I didn't do an isolation coat between, so I'm going to have that issue. That's pretty thick there, so I'm going to establish that going that way more. Make sure the thickness of the tree actually makes sense. This piece was really about establishing a lot of base tones and then just coming in on top again with sort of lights and shadows and stuff. Very similar to the other one I just finished. A little more relaxing than that one is, since that's a little more. That takes more out of me. This doesn't. So being able to switch back and forth between projects is really nice. Helps make things just easier on me. Don't always have the same level of focus for every single piece. So I think, getting ready to clean up pretty soon. I'd say the next half hour. Some other stuff I have to take care of. Actually, looks like it's a nicer day today than it was yesterday. It's gotten a little bit warmer already than it was. It was like, must have been like 42 yesterday, and I think when I came down to the studio, it was already like 52 today. So a couple more things I have to get done this weekend before tomorrow, really before I go back to work. So this piece is really a mix of old and new style elements. The tree leans on a series of trees I did back in, I think, 2012, called the Wacky Willows. Just the ones kind of branch way out. I think I did them up until like maybe 2014 or so. And then the tower is a little newer. Okay, that might be dry enough now. I can work with some more of that. It's just way too thin over top of that. To get thicker, I'm gonna have to get some thicker paint, which sucks. Actually, is that? Oh, that's thicker. Grab some of that side. A little bit. Still not enough. Bummer. Oh well. Let's get the roots done. Oh, I totally smeared across that, didn't I? Jeez. Idiot. Well, if I can get this one done too, I'd say that would round out my morning quite nicely. Save the rest of the hologram piece for either tomorrow or Monday. Probably Monday. Alright, so I definitely need some thicker paint, which means I need to get the tube black. Which, jeez. I screwed this tube up a while ago. Where the hell's my other knife? There it is. The cap doesn't go on at all now. I just have to keep the keep it taped over, but pretty much every other time I have to use it, I have to scoop out the dried paint on top of it. This is a golden tube, which surprised me too, because I don't know if I screwed it up or probably was on me, because their tubes are generally pretty good. But I basically stripped the whole threading, so I can't even use it properly now. What I should do is squeeze it into one of the jars, the empty jars that I've got lying around. Actually, shit, I'm doing that right now. I don't know why I didn't think of doing that before. Alright, what do I have? Hold up. Jars, jars, jars. 1,000 jars, and none of them are the right size. Oh, there's one. What was in that? Molding paste initially. Good. That's alright. Cool. Cannot believe I did not think of doing this. It's like the most obvious choice of something to do. Just squeeze it into a jar. You have the jar. Squeeze it in the jar. Should be able to get a little bit more out of this. Where's my get my hunk of stone here. There we go. Get all that out of there. Since I don't have one of those tube squeezers, I gotta just do a little bit at a time here by hand. Let's do it on the glass. No, let's not do it on the glass, because that would break the glass. Just squeeze all that out of there. There we go. No idea. I did not think of doing that. I should put the pigment number on there, because I'm sure I'll have to look at some point. Okay, 11. Okay, black. Cannot believe I did not think of doing that like months ago. Like literally the most obvious thing that I could have done. Oh, come on, really? Just Butterfingers this morning. Still beating up on me. That's pissing me off. Really should have put an isolation coat on that. All the time to fill that hole, and it's still there. Great. I don't even know what to highlight this with. Besides a lighter color, I mean. What I do want to do, though, is cover up that green glaze in the corner here. Little piece of plastic to put on that. Okay, not that piece of plastic. Preferably one without a hole in it. Let's do this for that little section. Yeah, I said I was gonna finish this, but I might not. I think I just want to let this dry, and it's another one I gotta let sit and think about a little bit. Can't always rush through everything. Well, I don't want to quit now, though. I want to give myself at least another couple minutes. Let me see what I can do. Besides clean my brushes, which I'm probably just going to use my instant cleaner for that. Since I don't feel like going to the sink right now. I just made some fresh cleaner the other day, so. Brush cleaner. Which is mostly soap and rubbing alcohol, but a little bit extra water in it. Does the job quickly. And I don't have to go to the sink, even though the sink's right there, but I'm lazy. Alright, so these palettes will need cleaned off later, once the paint on them's dry. These two will go just to the side. Probably should work on my sketchbook since I haven't in a week, since I've been doing studio stuff, but at least this one has a title. We'll bring this other one back out here a second. Yeah, is that dry or yeah, it's just shiny is all. Okay, so this can at least measure out a. Hey, somebody's in comments. It's always people always show up like right when I'm ready to quit. It's ridiculous. Welcome though. I'll be here for at least a little while. I swear, I have the worst luck with streaming. All right, what do I want to get? H. At least mark out and probably drill these holes. So I'll bring these down probably what, an inch in, inch and a half. Inch and a half in. Inch and a half down. So that puts that one here. In. Inch and a half down. And that one here. Not the best places for them, but I didn't really plan ahead with this much. Get rid of those other ones. Do I want to get the power drill out? Yeah, I think I do. Just just make things easier than sitting here with a stupid little hand drill. Which is fun to watch, but it's a pain in the butt to use. Okay, let's see, get the bit. Hope I have an open plug. Usually do. Okay. Oh, crap. Have to move this over. I don't have that much slack. Pardon the noise. Something clicked through, but I don't know what it was. There it is. There we go. 2 holes through. Alright, let's see. Set that there for now. What wire do I want to use for this one? I think I've got some of the braided stuff sitting around here somewhere. There it is. Stuff's kind of a mixed bag. It's thick, but it's also loose. Kind of a pain to work with. I got a nasty big spool of it. But not the end of the world. Also doesn't cut super well. But I have a big loose slack piece of this, so I figured what the hell, I'll just use this one. So, it doesn't really like the size of these holes because it's really about the same size. Oh, hello. That's my wire. Partly why I want to do this now, though, too, is because I'll set these in with some, what is it? Some acrylic gel so it doesn't actually move. I mean, the knot helps it not move, but actually I should get this dry, too, before I actually sit this here. Don't want to have extra paint on top of that. That's good. Now these, unfortunately, tend to have a little bit extra slack, and I'll get a little piece of that showing, which I don't really like to have happen, so I do want to try and get it as tight as I can, but 9 times out of 10, I will have the wire kind of showing through. It's just, mostly it's my own stupid fault for not putting the holes lower, because the holes should be closer to the center, so I don't have that problem, but if they're close to the center, then it disturbs the composition, so. This one I would normally not, but should have enough slack to just kind of twist it around and then hit it with the gel so it won't come loose. Like I said, these wires like to slice with these pliers. I'd have to get actual wire cutters for, and even then the wire cutters still are kind of making a pain. Use that slack for the next project. So this will actually be tight enough that I won't have that issue. But I will have to gel the sides. Use some soft gel on this. So a little bit through the back of those holes. And then I want a little bit just on the frays of the wire where I sliced it. And it's strictly to make them less sharp in both transport and in the next person, the person that will eventually own it, really. Just a little bit of that gel to hopefully make that not as sharp. And for the person who buys it. And just looking at this, I can already tell this will move easily in a couple of months once things open back up. Yeah, this will be an easy sell. These smaller, simple pieces tend to be easier sells anyway. So I price them for the move. This little one, this will probably be maybe 120-ish. Which nets me a profit after commission of like $90, so that's pretty solid for a little piece like this. Keeps the price reasonable so people can actually buy stuff, and also I noticed that I have one sleeve up for the past like half hour. I did that for something else and forgot about it. Yeah, I like that. Looks good. Now what's interesting when I take a picture of this and post this online. One thing I'll do is when I hit Photoshop, I'll actually the wires will show up there, but they won't show up in the picture. Because by the time I upload, it'll actually correct those two spots in Photoshop, so I don't have that issue. A lot of times I'll actually take the picture before I drill the holes to circumvent that, so I don't actually have to do that, but Photoshop makes it pretty easy, so I can do it either way. So that's at least one piece done on stream. The other two are in progress, so I'll finish those, again, probably Monday, but I won't be streaming then. If you want to see some of my other new work, you can check it out. I've uploaded those to the Facebook fan page as well as to DeviantArt. Check out Cinderblock Studios on both of those websites to find me. Outside of that, I'm probably going to be just grabbing a quick bite to eat here, and then I'm going to more than likely be streaming over on Twitch by about 1:30. So if you guys want to watch me over there, I play games, I swear a lot, I get really frustrated, so it's fairly entertaining to watch. And, just like here, I narrate as I go, because I can't stop myself from doing it. If I ever play with my friends, and I do sometimes, I annoy the hell out of them because I will not shut up. But makes for, I feel a little bit more entertaining process. So that's studio stuff for today. If you guys ever have any questions, never be afraid to leave me a comment on a video. I love giving guys advice on what to work on, or advice on how to make the thing you're working on better. Or if you just watch because you like seeing people paint, I like that too. Makes my job a little bit easier. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have for today. Sorry I didn't have a regular tutorial done this week, but I was actually doing a lot of other stuff around the house this week. A lot of outdoor projects early in the week, and then again, just cranking out paintings Thursday, Friday, and a little bit today as well. I can't remember if I was live at the time when I talked about it, because I had an issue getting started, but I'm looking at one, starting a Discord server for the channel, and the guys can kind of come together and talk about art and advice and things in a less public, slightly less public setting. I think given the quarantine and everything right now, might be a good time to start looking into doing that. Additionally, I'm probably going to be moving the regular video schedule from Saturday at noon, midnight to Saturday at noon, so I don't have to keep making apology videos and saying, hey, the video is either going to be late or it's not going to happen this week, so that I can just get stuff done Saturday morning if I didn't have the ability to do it during the week, which a lot of times I don't. So that's all the major housekeeping announcements here for the channel. Again, if you like my work, want to see more of it, links to all my social stuff is in the description box below. Keep on creating, and this has been Blog Studios, and I will see you guys next time.